Despite being the size of an average gaming computer, Cerebras CS2 system condenses the power of more than 100 units of the leading GPU in the market. Every system in the CS2, built with the single purpose of powering and supporting the heavy computing chip built for neural network training. When connected via RJ45 terminated ports, CS2 unit allows configuration and monitoring of its internal operations and events in real time. Next to the RJ45 ports are the 12 ports of 12,100 gigabits per second optical Ethernet interfaces, capable of receiving and sending 1.2 terabits of training data per second. Inside the housing is an assemble of cooling and powering systems, alongside with the system manager unit and the engine block. Each supporting system in CS2 contains extra modules as backup units to ensure uninterrupted training sessions. In case of a unit failure, backup modules kicks in to fill the performance gap and keep the system running. CS2 system uses 12 individual standard power supply units to convert the power from 240 volts down to 50 volts, delivering up to 23,000 watts to the system. 3 out of 12 units acts as backup power supplies. As CS2 contains one of the extraordinary chips in the world, it comes fully equipped with a full-fledged cooling system to extract the heat generated from the chip to maintain an optimal working temperature. The cooling system's coolant pump drives the coolant through the engine block and the heat exchanger, transferring the heat generated in the engine block to the environment. The heat exchanger unit performs an identical role as a vehicle's radiator. When heated coolant flows through the heat exchanger, it transfers coolant heat to a flow of air forced into the system housing by the fans attached to the back side. The system manager board monitors every environmental sensor and governs the supporting systems to maintain an optimal working environment inside the engine block. At the heart of the CS2 system resides the engine block. The engine block is an assemble of several parts dedicated to handle the cooling, powering, and communicating procedures of the chip. One of these parts is the power distribution module, which distributes the output of power supply units to a bank of voltage regulator modules connecting the chip with high-dense power. These voltage regulator modules supply the chip with 20,000 amperes at less than 1 voltage difference. As the traditional edge supply method fails to handle the chip's dense power demand, this module meets the chip vertically and delivers the dense power directly to each rectile marked on the chip. This unorthodox power regulator generates a substantial amount of heat while handling the dense power source. To cool the power distribution modules, it comes with a voltage regulator cold plate capable of distributing the coolant fluid at a uniform flow among the modules. When in function, the chip produces more than 20 kilowatts of heat, which then absorbed by the cold plate. Designed with advanced computational fluid dynamics, it can maintain a precise and stable thermal environment around the chip. 2 input-output modules, containing optical engines, streams the training data into the chip and extract the results, converting electrical signals into optical pulses that travel through optic fibers to the front ports of the system. Finally, the inner soul of the CS2 system. A processor, 56 times larger than the world's largest GPU chip. The chip combines 2.6 trillion transistors, which makes up to 850,000 processing cores, optimized for sparse linear algebra. As a solution to the increasing demand of high-bandwidth memory required for neural training, Cerebras built 40 gigabytes of high-bandwidth memory on the chip itself with the access of a single clock cycle. Each core in the chip is separately programmable, and each core is connected with surrounding 4 other cores through 220 petabits per second interconnects. These interconnects transmit data 45,000 times faster than the GPU to GPU communication. If you are interested to know how the chip increased the training performance, watch this video that explains how the chip works.